Can I take you back to the question on the oil fields and the military role in the oil field mission, if I may? So you're going to protect them again and keep control against ISIS and other potential adversaries. Does it include the possibility, in your view, that U.S. troops are prepared to deny access to the oil fields to either Russian and or Syrian forces? Is that, in fact, part of your mission to specifically deny them access? And my follow-on to that is, how do you know what do you need to see to know you're done with the oil field mission? Presumably you're not keeping troops there absolutely forever. How do you know when you're done? What do you need to see? But Russia and Syria, please.
Yeah, so the question you're asking, Barbara, is about purpose and end state, and then the ways would be the military question. So I'm going to punt over to the Secretary specifically for that. But the military task that we've been given is to continue to secure TANF, which is down along you know where that is, down along the tri-border area. We'll continue to do that, and to secure the Conoco oil fields in and around Dar el-Zir. That is in the vicinity of the middle Euphrates River Valley that you're familiar with. And the fundamental purpose of securing those oil fields is to deny those oil fields access to ISIS in order to prevent ISIS from resurgence, because we are still committed to the counter-ISIS campaign, and we don't want them to resurge. They get a lot of their revenues from that. But I'll let the Secretary talk about end states.
The specific question is, within what you want to do in the oil fields, does that include denying access, preventing Russian or Syrian forces, which now have changed the battle space?
So the short answer is yes, it presently does, because in that case, we want to make sure that SDF does have access to the resources in order to guard the prisons, in order to arm their own troops, in order to assist us with the Defeat ISIS mission. So that's our mission, is to secure the oil fields.
But you would deny, you just said you would deny Russia and the regime. Okay.
We don't want to keep soldiers between Syria and Turkey for the next 200 years. They've been fighting for hundreds of years. We're out. But we are leaving soldiers to secure the oil. Now, we may have to fight for the oil. That's okay. Maybe somebody else wants the oil, in which case they have a hell of a fight. But there's massive amounts of oil. Again, somebody else may claim it, but either we'll negotiate a deal with whoever's claiming it, if we think it's fair, or we will militarily stop them very quickly. We have tremendous power in that part of the world.
Joining us now live from Erbil, Iraq, NBC News and national security and military correspondent Courtney Kube. Courtney, in his announcement, President Trump also talked a lot about the region's oil, and you have some new reporting this morning on U.S. troop movements in the area. Tell us about it.
That's right, Mika. So we know now President Trump said very clearly yesterday that U.S. troops would have this new mission of securing oil in Syria, and he talked about the importance of that mission. We've seen the first of those deployments actually move from here in Erbil into Syria, driving towards the Deir ez-Zor region. That's where many of these troops will be based. We still don't have a good sense of exactly how many there will be. We know that they will have some light armored vehicles. They moved in on MRAPs, which are lightly armored vehicles that we've seen throughout Iraq and Afghanistan over the last several years. They also will have tanks, though. So that indicates that not only are the U.S. military troops who are going in there, are they worried about the potential for some kind of a clash with ISIS, but they're worried about the potential for actually confrontations with more heavily armed adversaries. In this case, it would likely be Russia or the Syrian regime. Both of them border this area around Deir ez-Zor, right along the Euphrates River Valley. So it proves that, in fact, the U.S. military is at least concerned about the possibility of, with this new deployment, they could have some kind of a confrontation.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 13. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High. Verse 14. Saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. 15. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Quadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, who well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life to do so for Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami Camp. And yes, the reason why I brought the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 13 through 15, is from the breaking news that I put in post-production, all right? Where you're having the Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, and the Joint Chief of Staff, okay, Mark Milley, all right, clearly saying, yeah, we have troops over there in the Delazar province where the Euphrates River is at, okay? And the one of the anchor women, I believe she's a anchor woman based out of CNN, okay? She asked Mark Esper, what about the Russian and Syrian army that's there? Will they be fighting them? Will there be a conflict because of the oil? And Mark Esper said yes. And then I showed you the other clip where Donald Trump, all right, in his pride and his pump, clearly saying, yeah, all right, if you want the oil, then you're going to have to fight us. You're going to have to fight the American troops. So clearly what we're seeing is that region over there in the Middle East, all right, where the Euphrates River runs through, okay, which is the Delazar province, is being stirred up by the angels, stirring all these major nations up for the battle of Armageddon. Okay? Now let's go into a little history, because it seems a lot of you dumb Americans forgot what happened last year, because there is no ISIS in the Delazar province. There's only the Russians, the Syrians, and the Iranians. Okay? This is from NBC News. This was from last year, March 15, 2018. Little history. U.S. troops who repelled Russian mercenaries prepared for more attacks. That's right. There was a conflict. There was a skirmish between Russian mercenaries and the U.S. forces. Delazar, Syria. And by the way, I'll put this in the description box so you can read along. Standing on a windswept mound, Brigadier General Jonathan Braga pointed to the spot just a mile away from where Russian mercenaries and fighters loyal to the Syrian government fired at his soldiers. Right. You've got Assad's military there and Russians. Quote, those artillery rounds could have landed and killed Americans, and that's why we continue to prepare our defenses, said Braga, the director of operations for the U.S.-led anti-Islamic State coalition. That's the reason why America sent tanks there, okay, over this past weekend. Because it ain't about ISIS. It's about Russians and Assad's Syrian army, which have tanks, all right, which have warplanes. Only steps away sits a sprawling oil and gas refinery that the U.S.-backed forces captured from ISIS last year, and that is just beginning to hum with life again. Right, now, keep in mind, this article came out in 2018, proving, all right, that there's no ISIS there, meaning they were already eradicated, all right, evicted by the U.S. forces in 2017. So that whole ISIS is a fluff to keep you dumb-ass Americans asleep, okay? And, by the way, ISIS, and I've done videos on it. Plenty of brothers in Great Millstone have done videos on it. ISIS was a concoction by the Israeli Mossad and the CIA of the United States, all right? They created that monster on the Obama administration. There's plenty of videos, YouTube videos, news media articles to prove that case. Continuing on. While there were no U.S. casualties, Braga worried that more clashes may follow. Right, and that's why what's going to happen now, man. World War III is about to ignite. All we got to do before the nukes fly is wait for the economy to collapse, all right? Wait for Jacob's trouble to ignite, the push and implementation and mandatory of the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, which you so-called, okay, Israelites, pseudo-Hebrew Israelites are going to have to answer for, all right? Because you're acting, okay, like these bug outs, all right? I don't believe in the market, in the mark of the beast or the RFID chip, okay? Because that's in the scriptures, and that's coming. And then World War III is going to be unleashed, all right? Or it can happen simultaneously, like little skirmishes like what you're seeing right now that happened in 2018, all right? But the nukes will not fly, just to make a point, until all those prophecies, which I just stated, come to fruition, happens. Continuing on. While there were no U.S. casualties, Braga worries that more clash may follow. The Americans and their allies are fortifying embankments to prepare for potential future confrontations. Right. So this has been going on. It's just now America is now revealing their hand, okay, because it's getting close to that war. It says, while they are opposed to Assad's government, the Americans have not been targeting the regime's soldiers and its allies in the civil war, including Russia, Iran, and Lebanon's Hezbollah militia. Braga's men launched punishing air attacks, airstrikes, and artillery fire at the pro-regime fighters and Russian mercenaries. The Pentagon called the attack retaliation for their unprovoked incursion into territory controlled by the U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, a coalition of Kurds and Syrian rebels. Now, I'm trying to find a point right here because they said that they were protecting the oil even back then. Maybe it's not this article. There's another article that even back then they were guarding the oil supply in 2018, because this has been going on. All right, because American troops have been in the Delazor Province, all right, for 2 years already, maybe even 3, and the Russians and the Syrian army, as well as the Iranians, which they're not going to admit. I saw certain articles last year that said the Iranians are there. They're all in that Delazor Province, which proves Revelation, chapter 9, verse 13 to 16. All right, so now let's get another one. All right, CNBC News. Now we're pushing forward to today. Trump wants to make a deal with Exxon or others to tap Syrian oil. We should be able to take some, right, some of the oil. All right. It says President Donald Trump on Sunday said he's interested in making a deal with ExxonMobil or other energy company on tapped Syrian oil reserves. What I intend to do, perhaps, is make a deal with Exxon or one of our great companies to go in there and do it properly and spread out the wealth. So America's in there for the oil, which was many conspiracy theorists, well, now it's a conspiracy fact, many veterans, many soldiers that got out the military said, all right, the Iraq invasion was all set up to get the oil supply. And that's what America does. America goes into these countries taking what is not theirs. All right? Syria still belongs to Assad. That's still a sovereign country. So America's going in there taking what is not theirs, which reminds me of why Donald Trump, he's a good deceiver, man. He's a snake. He's a con artist. All right? But his true intentions have always been there. You just got to read between the lines. Psalms 10 and 2. The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Right, because of your greed and ambition. All right, America, you're going to go fight in this third world war, which you're not going to get out of. 2. For the wicked boasteth of his heart desire, and blesseth the covenants whom the Lord abhorreth. Right, boasteth of his heart's desire. Right, Donald Trump. I want the oil. We should be able to spread the wealth. All right, you're going to have to fight us if you want to take this oil. All right, which there was a fight last year. And the Russians want it too. The Russians want the oil supply. Assad wants his oil. That's his oil field, by the way. All right. Technically, if you want to go according, all right, to whose sovereign nation is. Oh, but by the way, the oil supply throughout all the earth is really ours. That's ours. That's the Israelites. All right. So that's our stuff. But you are just borrowing. You're on borrowed time. Fourth, the wicked, through the pride of his conscience, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. Right? And that's why America's doing what they're doing. All right? They're going in there, all right, as jackals. All right? And you soldiers that are fighting for the American military, you're low-paid mercenaries. All right? You're getting paid shit to go risk your life for resources, for oil supply. All right? You're a bunch of idiots. But, that's what... Hey, didn't, what's his name? Henry Kissinger said that soldiers are pawns. Okay? Let me get that quote. So you soldiers that are watching, all right, are putting your life on the line for the American, all right, so-called, all right, America. You're not. You're putting your life on your line for ExxonMobil, all right, and Citgo, all right, and other American oil companies. But Henry Kissinger, all right, and soldiers quote. Yeah, soldiers quote. All right. Yeah, here we go. Quote by Henry Kissinger. Military men are just dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy. That's Henry Kissinger, who Donald Trump shook hands with, by the way, in the Oval Office. You dumb idiot Americans. But hey, that's what you Americans are. You're a bunch of dummies, all right? You don't read into nothing. You barely know how to read, man. You barely know how to enunciate your words, all right? This is mainly talking to you Edomites, because you're the ones supposed to be watching your government, and you're letting your government go rogue and do whatever it wants. Why haven't you started to do an uprising yet? Why haven't you engaged in overthrowing your government? Because you're a bunch of punks and pussies, man. The time you engage in overthrowing your government is when the economy collapses, when you have no food and water. That's when you'll start to do something about your government. But right now, what they're doing over there, you're like, well, I'll just, as long as I have my piece of shit job and my GMO McDonald's, I'm okay. Bunch of idiots. Continuing on. But yeah, that was Henry Kissinger, by the way. Just throwing it out there. Continuing on, it says, 5, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. Right, and that's these Edomites, like Donald Trump. All right? Donald Trump is in there, hey, you want to fight us for the oil? Okay? And so, hey, man, this is you Edomites, you so-called white people. 6, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. Right, and that's the pride of these Edomites, especially here in America. They don't think they can be taken down. But guess what? The Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, and North Korea, they've been preparing to take you down, okay? All right? Hey, didn't the Pentagon report, all right? Defense News did a report. Outgunned and outranged, huh? Yeah, you're going to be taken down, America. 7, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Right, and that's you so-called white people, you Edomites. From the hierarchy, from your military officers, all right, from your politicians, okay, from your president, all right, from your corporations, all the way down to the six-pack Joe. You're all liars, you're all deceivers, all right? Everything you speak is fraud and deception, okay? Let's get to another article. So what's going to happen, man? All right? What's going to happen? So that's in one. Now, this is from Deutsche Welch. I'm going to try to move fast. I want to make this too long. Russia slams U.S. move on Syrian oil fields as banditry. The U.S. push to claim Syrian oil fields is banditry, meaning a bandit. All right, a bunch of thieves, a band of thieves. The Russian Defense Ministry has said a U.S. military convoy was heading towards oil fields at Syria's Deir ez-Zor, where Washington already maintains a small force. Right, back in 2018 when they had a skirmish amongst each other. Russian Foreign Ministry on Saturday said the U.S. has no right to seize oil fields currently controlled by Kurdish forces in the eastern Syrian area of Deir ez-Zor province. The condemnation came amid reports that U.S. military convoy of a dozen vehicles was moving south towards the site. An unnamed U.S. military official confirmed to the Associated AFP news agency that the Pentagon began reinforcing its presence in Deir ez-Zor, which boasts rich oil fields. This, what Washington is doing now, capturing, maintaining control through the use of arms over oil fields in eastern Syria. That is, to put it simply, international, state-sponsored banditry, said Russian General Igor Konashenkov. The tension comes as Kurdish-led forces were forced to retreat from parts of the northeast border, as laid out by a ceasefire deal struck bilaterally between Russia and Turkey. And just shows how NATO's working with Russia. You know, Turkey is a NATO member. You know, where they do that at? We're living in the last days, man. This is exciting. Let's continue on. All right, Russia accused Pentagon of smuggling oil. Konashenkov, sounds like Konashenkov, the AK-47. But anyway, also presented satellite recordings provided by the Russian military, which he said showed U.S. troops and mercenaries securing oil smuggling operations in Syria. So the U.S., you've been caught red-handed, all right? And Russia is a powerhouse, okay? Many nations are going to believe what Russia has to say, not what you have to say, America. Donald Trump, he constantly fumbles on his words, all right? He's constantly double-backing on what he says every freaking day. So the world's now looking at Russia as a credible news source. Just think about that. The Russian officer said that under protection by the U.S. troops and employees of U.S. private military companies, all right, mercenaries, because there was a report that America has been hiring more mercenaries, more private contractors, mercenary contractors, all right? For an example, Blackwater, which they changed their name to something else, all right? They're in there, all right? Fuel tankers from oil fields in eastern Syria are smuggled into other countries. The U.S. did not immediately comment on the allegations. Right, because you've been caught red-handed. You can't say nothing. On Saturday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo discussed the Syrian conflict on the phone. Lavrov said it was important to refrain from steps undermining the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Syria, according to the statement from Russian side, right? Because that country belongs to his side, all right? But America's been in there smuggling oil, being a thief, all right? So that leads me to another scripture. So you Americans are caught red-handed. It's about time. All right, that's why this war is coming, man. Micah 2:1. Woe to them that denies iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it's in the power of their hand. Right, that's you Americans, all right, using your military, okay, to go into people's countries and take their resources, all right? Covet fields, like it says in verse 2. And they covet fields, right, like the oil in the Deir ez-Zor province, where the Euphrates River runs through, and houses, and taken them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage, right? So you've been out there, all right, stealing land, all right, ripping up families, okay, changing territories to fit your own agenda. And guess what? The Lord sees this, and He's putting it on the minds of y'all to do all this so that you can go into the Middle East and get into the great war, the war of Armageddon. Because watch. Right here, verse 3. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go hotly, for this time is evil. Right, evil's coming upon your soldiers. Evil's coming upon America, because this is going to ignite the World War III, Armageddon. All right? Last one. Article. Go back in history, because this fight in the Deir ez-Zor province is going to get dirty. This ain't going to be a clean war. This is from Global News. This was reported last year, September 9, 2018. Pentagon denies Russia's claim that it dropped phosphorus bombs on Syria village. Okay? That's right. Russian military has accused the U.S. Air Force of using banned white phosphorus bombs during airstrikes Syria in the Del Azor province. That's why this war is going to get bloody. This war is going to get dirty. All right? The gloves are coming off in this region right here, this province. Okay? It's about to get litty. And don't say, and America denies it, but it's bullshit because in 2005, the U.S. military says it doesn't use white phosphorus as a weapon, but it has previously been accused of not being entirely forthcoming. Right, because they're a bunch of thieves and liars and snakes, the American military. Forthcoming on the matter after being accused of using white phosphorus in Iraq in 2005. The U.S. State Department said the substance was only used as a signaling device, but confronted with evidence, the military later admitted that it used white phosphorus as an incendiary weapon against enemy combatants. The BBC reported. Okay, that was the UK reported that. So that's why this war is going to get bloody. So let's get to 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras, chapter 16. This is exciting, man. Bible prophecy being fulfilled. All right, you Americans, you're going into war. You're not getting out of it. All right, get ready to see, all right, a lot of death coming upon you people, man. 2nd Esdras 16:1. Woe be unto Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Verse 2. Gird up yourselves with clasps of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. You're damn right. You Americans, you heathens, all right? And you 2/3 I want to join to the American philosophy, the American, okay, agenda. You going to lose your lives, and your children are going to lose their lives in these last days. All right? 3, a sword is set upon you, and who may turn it back? 4, fire set among you, and who may quench it? 4, that was 4. 5, 4, a fire set among you, and who may quench it? 5, plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? 6, may any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood? Or may anyone quench the fire in stubble when it have begun to burn? 7, may one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? Nuclear war is coming, baby, and there's no stopping it. There's no denying it. That's why you had 2 weeks ago, all right, the Thunder 2019, Russia was testing their nukes, air, land, and sea. Nuclear, training. America's been doing the same thing. That's why they pulled out the INF treaty. Okay? Nuclear war is coming. There's no denying it. You people get ready. We're living in the last days. You want to sit and play games, all right, with the God of Israel? You want to sit and play games that you can go on and live your life like nothing's happening? You're dead fucking wrong. All right? Last one, and I'll close out. Revelation chapter 16. And I'm going to start at 12. And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. That's right, the Euphrates River. It's already dried up. That's why you have all these nations there. The kings of the east, Russia, okay? Iran, all right? The Arab countries, okay? China, they're all going to come in and start, okay, tagging that ass, America. All right, and you heathens are going to get fucked up too. All you nations are going to get fucked up. Everybody's going to start losing soldiers in these last days. Not just America, all right? 13, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. All right, what's that talking about? All right, that's talking about your hierarchy. All right, the elites, the so-called Illuminati, which control, okay, all these various governments that you Edomites live in, okay? They're being, okay, pushing for this war, okay? Because they're greed and in that greed that they have for the oil. 4, right? And I believe the 3 unclean spirits are the 3 cities. A lot of brothers broke that down. The 3 major city-states, the Vatican, the England, UK, okay, and DC, All right, in those areas, that's where it's talking about the 3 city-states. Okay, but there's ultimately you Edomites, all right, pushing your philosophy, onto the people, all right, and pushing, more importantly, that greed, man, that spirit of greed, and that's why you're in there. 14. For they are spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty. Right, the great day. What's that great day? Continue on 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keep his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. Right, it's talking about you Israelites. You're supposed to get ready, man. Come to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, before this happens. Sirach 5 and 7 is a good precept to that. Sirach 5 and 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in day of vengeance. Right, meaning come to the Lord now, before, like it says, before the Lord, that wrath of the Lord come forth. All right, because this is the Lord's vengeance, gathering all these nations, and he's using these elites, all right, to push these nations to go to war. All right, he's working on the minds of these the so-called Illuminati to push this all together for the final war. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that. This is back to Revelation 16 and 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. 16. And he gathered them together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, or in the Hebrew Armageddon, which means, assembly of troops, mountain of troops. All right, also known as Megiddo. 17, last verse. And the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of the heaven from the throne, saying, it is done. And that's where we're coming to. The end of this system, the end of this insanity dwelling here in America. So, hey, you don't have to believe in the Bible if you don't want to. It's not a problem. This war is going to happen, all right? And your Edomites, the hierarchy of the American military, these Edomites are telling you to your face, we're in that region to take care, protect the oil, take the oil, all right? Russia's saying, we see you smuggling the oil, and that's why the war is going to happen. So there's nothing you can do about it. Kahal Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rakah Quadash. All right? Double honors to the apostle, great millstone, who well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing the truth and sincerity, all right, throughout the 4 corners of the earth and risking their life to do so for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. It's go time. This war is going to happen. Keep fighting. Keep pushing. Shalom and Abad Babal.